Hi, my name is Sherry Vaughn, and this is micro teaching for English 607. And today we're going to talk about prevention and intervention in writing difficulties for students with learning disabilities. When you have students in your classroom, writing is difficult for the majority of them when they're not learning disabled. But when you have a learning disabled child, it brings on a whole new issue with them because they can't get their thoughts, sometimes they can't get their thoughts together to know what to write. Sometimes their spelling is off and they worry about their spelling too much, different things like that. So we're going to talk about 4 issues. We're going to talk about providing effective writing instruction. We're going to talk about tailoring instructions to meet the need of the children with disabilities. We're going to talk about intervening early, which is a strong key for them, and using technology tools for writing. When we're providing effective writing skills, we need to look at ways to integrate their reading and writing around our thematic units. For instance, if we're teaching on that day, we're teaching about wolves, and we want them to write something about wolves. We need to let them write their own story about it and about some things that they learned about that day. Maybe do it as a free writing assignment where they're not graded on it. That will also give us an insight as to how they are doing and what they need help with and how we can help them. We also need to look for opportunities to engage in meaningful writing. We need to see their response to what they have learned by their writing. Maybe we can overlook, like I said, some of their spelling issues and let them do inventive spelling. Let them keep a journal, let them do art journaling, let them do the regular writing journal. Let them generate personal stories. Let them make up a story about a wolf and write it down. They seem to get more excited and more willing to write a story if it's their own. And we need to let them write reports to be shared with other students. Sometimes if they get to share their reports, they're more excited because they want people to see what they've done and maybe give them a pat on the back and let them see that they're doing a great job. They just want students with learning disabilities wants to know that people are there for them, to help them, and not to be so negative and critical of them. And that goes a long way in their writing. If we're not so critical in their writing, then I think that their imagination kicks in more and their writing does become better. So also using supports to scaffold their learning. Use word banks. I do this a lot in my teaching when I have a student that is with severe learning disabilities or even mild. Sometimes I will do this. I will do a page that has pictures and words so they can spell it and they can connect their sentences together to make a good story, help them to flow better. Also use Pictionaries. Use pictures with words on it so that it can associate the words with the picture. Also do planning sheets with them. Let them graft out what they want to write and then maybe set them down with an adult volunteer or a peer tutor and let them just let them brainstorm a little bit about what they want to write, and then help them connect the dots, so to speak. Just help them see that they can too write, and it may just take them a little while longer to do it. Also, create a supportive classroom. Many times these students with learning disabilities are told over and over and over again they can't do something, they can't write effectively, their sentences make no sense. If you have a classroom like this or a teacher that's like that, the students with learning disabilities will not be effective writers because they don't have the encouragement and the thought pattern that they can do this. That God has given them the ability to write just like He has other students, just maybe in a different way. Be encouraging to them. If they write a silly story, laugh with them about it. Tell them why it's funny, why it's silly. But and just help them, encourage them. Also, tailor their writing instructions to meet their limits of their disability. You don't want a child that has mild disabilities. You can't expect them to write like a child that has no learning disability. If you put them on the same page, you're going to have a student that will not write, that will have behavioral issues because he feels like he's being picked on, that he can't do it. He can't be like Joe over here who makes straight A's. His handwriting is not as well as his. Maybe one way that you can help that student is to do using additional one-on-one time. I know many times as teachers we find it very difficult to manage one-on-one time with our students. When there's just one of us and there are 20 of them, sometimes it's very difficult to find one-on-one time with them. So as a teacher, maybe just going by, stopping at their desk, looking at what they're doing, give them words of encouragement, give them hints how they can correct something or where they can go with their writing. Adult tutors, and many times these are parents that volunteer to come and help in the classroom. What a good resource to help these children with their writing, because they can sit down with them and help them connect the dots, so to speak, and help them with their writing and their letter formation and their spelling, which all these are a detriment to their writing. If they can't get these in order, they feel, what's the use? Why do I even try? And something else that I found in my classroom that helps is peer tutoring. Sometimes they'll have a friend that maybe is not learning disabled, but will take the time to help them and encourage them. If you put these two together with a writing assignment, they tend to help each other, and the student with learning disabilities does not feel like he's been singled out for his writing difficulty. Another thing that teachers need to do in the classroom to help these children figure strategies for their writing is we need to intervene early. When a child is in first grade and the teacher notices that the child forms his letters incorrectly or his spelling is not like it should be, just simple words, and she knows that he's tested learning disabled, we need to step in and help that child learn how to form those letters and how to spell those words, because that will hinder them in their writing strategies as well. Another thing that I have found that really helps me and helps my students with learning disabilities is using technology to help them write. And what I mean by this is they can get on the computer and in the Word program, they can type, because I have found out that even though when they sit down to a blank piece of paper to write their story about the wolf, it's just a blank sheet of paper and then they start panicking. But you put them in front of a computer with a Word program up on the screen and something in their brain clicks, and they can just sit there and type, and they don't have to worry about erasing their paper 100,000 times or putting a hole in their paper because they erased too much. They can just type on the computer. If they need to go back and erase, they can do that. And we also need to give them time to do this, not rush them, because they can't write as fast as a student that is abnormal of intelligence. So we don't need to expect them to be able to write as fast as they do. Revising can be done on the computer where they can go back and correct things. Students can arrange their work more neatly. Typing is easy, and typing is easier when there are fine motor skills that are a problem. So as all of this we've talked about, we need to encourage our students to do right and help them out by providing effective writing instruction, tailoring instructions to their needs, intervening early, and using technology to help them. Thank you very much.